Hello, my name is Alun, and today I am facilitating the third session of a longish playtest, maybe final playtest of my PbtA game of Dark Age heroes protecting the innocent from a growing darkness. Um, who knows? It may sometimes see the light of day. I'm not going to ask the players to introduce themselves particularly. We'll get into the play straight away. I do want to stress that we're playing with a set of safety tools and the community guidelines from the Open Hearth gaming community through whom this series has been organised. We have a rich calendar. You should come and check us out, Open Hearth Gaming. And come and play with us in November, because there's an Open Hearth, shared Hearth gaming weekend where we're encouraging people to come and try online gaming if you're not already doing it. Last time we ended up with a battle in which our heroes were victorious over a raiding party from a neighboring kingdom of Gwynedd. Today we're going to pick up after those events. The warband that the heroes summoned to help them has dispersed back to its homes, and they are moving on to another kingdom. What I do need to know before I go to the next step is which kingdom you want to go to. And you can either do this by looking at the map. That's probably a good place, actually. You can see that if you look at the map, Daira, where you are currently, is down there towards the middle right. And you will see it has borders with Lindsey to the south, Elmet to the southwest, Gwynedd to the west, and Bernicia to the north. And all I need to know is which way you're heading, really. Into which of these kingdoms do you want to go? Lindsey and Bernicia are pagan Saxon, principally. Elmet and Gwynedd are Christian Britain. Does anyone have a strong preference for one of those religious settings? I mean, you know, they're not all incredibly devout, but that is the predominant faith.
I believe we were bandits, declared, a bounty on our head if we wandered into Gwynedd.
Yeah, Gwynedd are not happy with you. So yeah, maybe not Gwynedd. So Elmet.
Oh no, that's perfect to me. Gwynedd, let's go. More interesting. Gwynedd's definitely out of all those ones on the board. Gwynedd is the most interesting because it's the only one we've actually got a relationship with.
It's true. It's true. I tend to agree.
Okay, Gwynedd it is.
Quick question. Are those hills that aren't part of any kingdom? Is that where the hill tribes are?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I just couldn't find a nice way to get the graphic and the label in, but I will work on that. So yeah, you could go to the hill tribes, actually. That's true. Who are the only pagan Britons on the board?
We go where God leads us, and it appears that God leads us to Gwynedd.
Okay. So Gwynedd it is. That allows me to be a bit more precise about that.
Or we just follow Black Gel and he goes to Gwynedd. So same thing, basically.
Yeah, he throws an eye in some direction. It happens to lead across into Gwynedd. Okay, so let us deal with encounters on the road then. When the heroes have agreed which faction they are traveling into, the Fates rolls 2d6 to determine why the travelers they encounter are on the road and their faith. I don't see why I should do that. So, Jose, would you like to roll a single d6?
Six.
A 6. Wow. Okay. So on a 6, oh, that's interesting. The reason that you encounter some travelers coming the other way, the reason they're traveling is some other secret, perhaps suspicious reason, which appears to be roll again. And let's hope it's not another 6, because that would get complicated.
Oh, that's a 6 as well. Sorry.
Rolling. You keep on going. You keep using those 6s.
I take the 6. Okay, one more time. This dice. Oh shoot, that didn't work. 1.
let me ask, Sabine, are they traders or entertainers?
They're entertainers.
Okay. And then, Paul, would you roll me a d6 for their faith or their apparent faith?
6.
6, a different faith to either the faction they're traveling from or to. So they are pagan Britons. Recognizable by the kinds of, well, Jose, you are our only pagan Briton. What is it that allows you to identify them as the same kind of background and faith as yourself?
Let's see. I would think so. They're entertainers. Is that what we said?
They are.
They're entertainers of some sort. And I think when we come across them, they're on the side of the road taking a break, and they're practicing a play. They're rehearsing a play, and the play has clearly Briton pagan overtones to it, involving the gods of that pantheon, the old gods.
Great. So they're rehearsing a performance about the old gods.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let me come around to Will. If the faction the heroes are traveling into is neutral or hostile to, or raiding, well, we know that they're raiding. Oh, sorry, it's the hero with the lowest favor, rolls plus favor. How favored are you by your gods at the minute?
Tied equal loss of favor, maybe.
Say that again.
Sorry, I'm -1 with the Christ god. I believe that the lowest favor is our sword of God.
Oh gosh, yeah, so it is. So
Right.
sword of God, roll -2, 2d6 -2.
Okay, I can do that. You just want us to get the good rolls out, right?
That's all I'm doing.
No,
I'm just filling
it's
to get
not.
rid of the 6s.
So it's a 5. Ha.
Oh, wow, righto. So on a 6-, the heroes misread the encounter, mistakenly believing the encountered travelers are interested in them and their woes. Every hero with a marked temptation, not burden, must seek solace in friendship with one of the travelers, but does so at disadvantage. Now, I said before we started that I give you a chance to convert any debts into some temptations. So do you want to, does anybody want to do that?
I still have a temptation, I think.
Yeah, you still have pride, but you could be owed a second. You know, there are 2 slots. You just have to take pride first and cancel it last.
Oh, I'm going for longing.
Okay. And that allows you to reduce that debt you owe the Christ God. Paul, what about Black Gel? Is Black Gel content on his debts?
I don't have any.
Oh, good Lord. What about Solinus?
I think I only owe the old gods, thanks to Finn helping me out. I don't particularly care about the old gods, frankly. They don't do anything for me.
Oh, well, let's hope that they don't start interfering then. And finally, what about Finn, Jose? You don't seem to have any.
I don't have any debts.
There you go. So it's just down to Caddoc then. So Caddoc, which of these British entertainers, bards, singers of songs, speakers of poems, set me a scene in which you find yourself trying to interest them in your woes. Oh, you are muted.
I'm muted. See, that is my woe. No, it's not. I am actually wounded pretty gravely, and that is actually a woe. And also, I feel like, you know what? I've been away from my brethren in the order far too long. And one of them, I think, reminds me of my of one of my brothers, and I kind of should rename myself. I'm sorry. I only just realized this is the totally wrong character. I don't want that. little ferry here, and no, I will then commence to explain to this person, and as I said, this is longing, explain to this person that I got wounded in a battle. I didn't even want to fight that battle. I thought these people were better than that. They were trying to rob women and children, and who does that? That is not godly. And then they stabbed me, and I stabbed them, and that is a sin. And now I need a priest of my faith, and there is none around. And I'm bleeding all the time, and I think Finn is kind of getting sniffy or something. I can see his nose twitch anyway. So.
And I think this man or woman, not clear.
It's a man. I'm a Christian order. Come on, we're men.
And you know, his tattooed brow wrinkles as you just throw all this stuff at him. And then roll 3d6 and take the bottom 2 and add soul.
Okay.
At least soul is well placed for you.
Well, it's a 6. Could be worse.
Well, you know, he says sometimes when you can't get to the people that you really want to get to, you have to take the people you can find.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
What it says on a 7+, clear the temptation.
It's not a 7+, it's a 6.
Oh, sorry, it's 6 on the dice plus soul.
I do have a soul of 0.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were
confusing me with Black Jello.
I am. On 6, they listened patiently. Mm-hmm. But you have not found value in their counsel, because their counsel is just sort yourself out. Yeah. You know, look at you. You have a horse, you have a mail shirt, you have a sword, and this belly aching is simply dull.
Yeah, you really remind me of my brother. Thank you for that.
That's
what he would have said.
Do not clear a temptation, and you cannot seek solace again until you reach a new settlement, unless the fates say so. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, there you can't. Yeah, so you're stuck with that until you get to the next settlement. Aye. Okay. So they move on in the direction you've come from, and you move on into Gwynedd. So we get back to arriving. You're going to arrive at a new settlement. So it's back to signs and portents. I think last time I started with black gel, so I'm going to try and keep the sequence going so everyone gets a chance at every bit of this. So this time it's solidness. I'm going to ask each of you to answer a question that will help define the reason your gods have guided you. Why, you know, you've just been heading west, and there is this Christian British settlement. What solidness hints at the settlement's previous posterity?
The ruins of a church. Of a large church.
Stone church, even.
Yeah, perhaps with its central spire still standing amidst the ruins.
Tower still standing. Okay. Let's move along to Caddock. What hints at the settlement's current woe? What seems wrong here, Caddock?
What seems wrong here? It is, I think it is unseasonably cold. Yeah, there's rime on the leaves, and in the middle of the day, it shouldn't be there.
Right. Okay. Finn, what worries you about this place, apart from the fact that it's unseasonably cold?
I think there is a look on the faces of the inhabitants that it almost looks like they're sleepwalking through their day, like they're all dazed. They don't seem to be expressing any emotion, and They look like, yeah, they've all been hit on the head with something.
Emotionless and lacking in any spark. Would that do?
Yes.
Finally, black gel. Why is this place worth saving? What do you see that you think maybe there's hope for this place?
This is the burial place of a long dead king.
Hey. Burial place of a long dead king. Say no more. Then I think what I'd like to do is to sort out some of the supporting cast for this episode. So I'm going to bring the settlement down near the hero tab. So you're there, it's close together. This is the settlement of Brangarw in Gwynedd. And again, I think I want to start, I'll keep the sequence going. Let me start with Solinus. Would you like to create a significant member of the local community?
Sure. Let's use the dice roll again. Roll 2d6. 5 and a 3. That is a pierce. Oh wait, this is where the 2 dice rolls. It's a pious. Warrior.
Hey, so pious warrior. If you would like to add them, they end up in the hall. So you're going to add them to the hall part of the local map, and give them a name. Technically, a British name. Let's move on to Caddock. Who do you want to add? Roll or choose, up to you. We have a pious warrior.
Okay, and I think what I want is, no, that's a place. I'm sorry. Ooh, I want an obnoxious storyteller, and he's in the hall too. I think his name is Eotenweard. Eotenweard?
Yeah, I think we're
no British names. Sorry,
yeah,
I should go over there. His name in this case is Gallus.
Go on, fine. Finn, who do you want to add to our cast of potential suspects?
So this is a Christian place, is that correct?
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
So one of the things is priest of Woden here. Should that just be a Christian priest? Can it be a Christian priest, or?
Oh, I'm sorry. That should say priest.
Just plain priest.
Yeah. God. Yeah, it should say it should say priest of God or Woden. Sorry. There you go.
I'm going to say a malicious priest of God. And his name will be Mangus.
Okay.
I'll write it in.
Yes, please. And finally, for Black Gel, Paul, who do you want to add to our supporting cast?
Let's have a lustful spouse.
A lustful spouse. Okay. And I think I will create the Lord here. I will make him, let's have a look. Lord Bran of Brangarw. No, hang on. Let's turn that round. Lady Becca. of Brangarw is who's in charge, and I think that I would like to make them where have we got that? Chaste Lady Becker of Brangarw. There we go. And Rhiannon is the lustful spouse. Okay, so that's our supporting cast. Now, each of you will then get to define some local place of interest. Again, we're back at Solinus. Select a descriptor for the place.
Nearby places of interest. Roll 2d6 again. A stinking.
Stinking what, I wonder? Caddock,
Yeah.
what do you want? What do you want to be stinking?
I don't want anything to be stinking, but
well, something is.
If it's something is stinking, I think, I mean, caverns, stinking caverns. I don't know why they're stinking and what they're stinking off, but maybe it's sulfur or something. Oh, they stink of hell, or who knows?
Who knows, eh? Okay, then Finn, what descriptor do you want to add to a second place of interest?
How about dangerous?
A dangerous something. Okay, a dangerous what, Paul, for Black Gel?
2 and then 3, a dangerous bog.
Dangerous bog. Stinking caverns and a dangerous bog. Fine. So this is the settlement of Brangarw. And as you've told me, there is the ruins of a large stone church. There is a largish wooden hut in the village with a cross on it instead. So clearly there's still a priest. In fact, we know that priest to be Mangus. And so you present yourself at the hall, seeking hospitality. And I think probably we see you are met by Rhiannon, the lustful spouse. The Lady Becker is at prayer. And Rhiannon is, I mean, who created Rhiannon? Paul, is she, you give me some characteristic that shows her lustful nature. What do we see as you approach the hall or as you get to the hall that would signal her nature?
Probably pretty something obvious, yeah? Well, if you notice it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the camera can find something discreet if you want.
Well, no, let's. She's buxom with a low dress.
Right, she is showing a degree of impropriety. Okay. And she rather, in passing, casts her eye over Caddock, who is rather a dashing member of his order, I think. Certainly the picture makes him dashing. Bit scruffily turned out, but nonetheless, and she casts an eye over him, and an eyebrow goes up, and you are very welcome to our hospitality. And again, you would need to leave your weapons, other than a knife, at the hall door, just to make sure that the peace is kept. And let's move swiftly on to later on in the day or early evening at dusk, when you are in the hall to take a meal with many of the locals. Though I notice all of our supporting cast are in the hall. That's their normal place. So again, now you expressed a wish last time, Will, for something that was not necessarily a big event triggered in the moment of your arrival.
Yeah.
So
I wish
which
it
of
to be a
those
problem.
inciting interests?
Yeah. So we're at the arriving, leaving stage, right?
We are. You are shadows lengthen.
I believe it's a heated conversation between NPCs.
Okay.
About the problems that they are facing, that we have arrived in the midst of.
Okay. Do you want to identify the two of our 5 NPCs who are in this discussion?
Yes. Mangus, the malicious priest of God, and I think Run, the pious warrior. And I think it is well, I don't know how much more you want me to detail about that.
Well, that will do for the moment. Who's it between? Let me move to Cadog. Is it only words that are exchanged, or does it get more serious than that, Cadog? Between the warrior and the priest?
No, I think they're only discussing this. This might get loud, and there might be some clenching of fists and banging of tables, but I think this is the hall of the Lord. And did we define the Lord? Yes, we did. A chaste Lady Becca. Chaste Lady Becca won't brook with violence at her table.
Okay. Finn, which of our 5 NPCs looks most surprised or worried or threatened, in any way connected to this argument that Solinus has set up for us?
I think it's the Lady Becca who is looking from her table and seeing the with consternation. She's seeing the conflict between Ruin and Mangus. But I don't. Well, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, Black Gel, which NPC looks most unsurprised or hopeful or even pleased or welcoming to this argument?
I think Rhiannon.
Rhiannon. Rhiannon, the lustful spouse. How does she display that? Is she laughing out loud, grinning discreetly, just a slight twinkle in her eye? What's the sense I get from that?
I think she's laughing out loud. Because she's quite pleased that either of these 2 guys go at each other. So a little bit goading, maybe. Yeah.
Who created our pious warrior? How good looking is our pious warrior? Is this an old warrior or a young warrior, a well-built warrior?
I think he's just past the prime of his life, but still strapping.
Middle years, but well-built. Okay. So that is the situation we've got set up. It would seem to me that there is an opportunity for someone here to try and work out what the argument is about. I'll start with Solinus because you set the argument up. Do you want to look about you?
Sure.
Roll plus sense.
Oh, I have to go through you do like all your tabs on. Every one of your keepers ends up with about 50,000.
It's the difficulty of designing in a keeper.
Yeah. Boom. That's a miss.
Well. I think the pious warrior sees you looking intently and leaning forward, trying to listen, sees you over the priest's shoulder and points at you and says, "This is none of your business, visitor."
I sure can drink my ale.
Unless somebody wants to help. Finn, how do you help How do we turn that around?
I think maybe Finn creates some kind of a distraction. When Solinus is he sees Solinus kind of sneaking up to the conversation to try to overhear what's happening. And I think maybe Finn falls off his bench kind of in a slapstick way, and knocks over an ale onto the floor and lets out a howl as if he were drunker than he actually is, which he's not.
This sounds like a cunning plan. So let's have you roll plus subtle.
Okay, so my subtle, I think, is 0, I think. All right. So it's just a flat roll then. Oh no, but I get advantage when I help.
There you go.
All right. Oh, it's 12 then.
My goodness me. On 6+, your outcome increases from failure to success. And what you realize, Solinus, is that in fact, the warrior is pointing over your shoulder at where Finn is making a fool of himself. So you can now ask me a question about the situation, or you could, if you wanted to, agree a detail with me. So you could tell me what the argument's about if you want to.
I think the argument is about how the those outside of the halls, the poor people of the village, are not just chattel to be worked to the bone in rebuilding the church. God would want us to look after our people first, while the malicious priest holds forth about how the village will not be safe before the church is rebuilt, that kind of thing.
Right. So Rin is arguing for more humane treatment of the villagers, while Mangus is just interested in getting the stone church repaired.
And I mean, more than just the ill treatment of the villagers. Like, look at them; they're drawn, they're pale, they're lifeless, they barely eat. You call them to your sermons, and they bow and they scrape within thing. But it is to elevate you, not to elevate our Lord.
And Mangus says, but they are just cattle. They are here to serve us. They are here to serve God. Let's go to Caddock. I think that this is a sufficiently loud altercation that now we know what it's about. I'm curious what view you take as our resident, Christian of strong faith.
Yeah, I mean, the priest reminds me of our superior, actually. He was of the opinion that we were just there to serve the Lord, that we will receive our reward in heaven, not on this earth. And I will add this to the conversation because I feel this calls for something like that.
What are you trying to? Are you taking a side here and trying to?
No, I think I'm trying to cool the level a little of the conversation. With my subtle, this will go swimmingly.
Yes, I think it will, because you're going to roll to convince. I think probably convince Rin, who seems to be, really going for it. Oh yeah,
okay.
to calm them down.
Yep, I can try that. Just where's my character? Heroes. There he is. I found him. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't have gotten a point more. Oh, it's a 6.
Okay.
I could use some help here, maybe.
Yeah, or you can help yourself. Remember, you can always.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me check this. Ha! But I have longing, and that gives me +1 to convince them.
Well, there you go. Look at that. I
can read my character keeper.
There you go. So that 7 becomes a 6, it becomes a 7 again. Yep. So convince them they will do it, but they choose 1. They ask you to do something first.
Okay.
If you are of such an opinion, says Rin, then or you believe we shouldn't be discussing this, prove that you are a voice worth listening to.
Okay.
While you're thinking about that, let me go to Black Gel. Often described in halls around the Northumbria as the floor show. What does Black Gel? What are you noticing? What are you doing? What do you want to do?
I shall sidle up to the good Lady Becca and say, guess how many eggs I can fit in my mouth? And I will start stuffing eggs in my mouth, acting the fool.
Acting the fool, capering fool. When you act the fool, reveal some aspect of your life before you were touched, and roll plus soul. So we've not. I don't think we've heard anything about your life before, have we?
No, I don't think so.
So tell us something about your life before you were touched.
And I will explain to the good lady that before you see this sorry state, I was a prince with power over thousands, over the sea. And then I was cast down, my hubris. And now this is how you find me.
Just put a brief sentence down in that bit of the character keeper for future reference. And let's have you roll.
Five.
Oh my. You attract attention rather than avoiding it, which places you at disadvantage until their notice shifts. So she's distracted from the argument, which now might run out of control, I think, and is peculiarly fascinated by you and your egg trick. What about Finn? You've played the drunk. What do you do? Oh, you are muted.
I think who haven't we talked to? We haven't not talked to the storyteller, the obnoxious storyteller, right? And I think Finn is going to approach the storyteller and maybe ask him for a story about the ruined church. It's like, there must be a story there to tell. That church looked like it was going to be very grand, but now it looks like to be in a ruin, to be frank. Tell us a story about that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make you roll for that, because I mean, he's a storyteller. You ask him for a story, he'll tell you a story. Unless you want that story to be a distraction from everything else, or is this just a story he's telling you?
I think my intention is to try to find out what is plaguing this town. So I'm trying to find information actually about it.
Fine.
I'm not sure if that
let's have you look about you then.
Oh, a look about. Okay. And I should do that with sense? Yeah.
Roll plus sense, unless you've got a better offer in one of your moves.
Nope, I do not, I think. And my sense is not good. No, actually, I roll look about you at -2, and my sense is -1. So I'm going to be rolling with -3. Let's see what that looks like. It's a 6 minus 3 is a 3.
I will remind all of you, remember, when you roll with one of your attributes, you put a tick in that box next to it on your way to XP. And he looks around at the people on the table near him and says, I will tell you a story. And he takes an ale tank and just pours it over your head, and everyone falls about with laughter. What an entertaining tale that is, says the obnoxious storyteller. Solinus. Solinus, you got this ball rolling. It seems to be rolling quite quickly away. What do you do, if anything?
I ask. I wonder who is the spouse of again? The Rhiannon. Who is she the spouse of?
Of Lady Becca.
Of Lady Becca. I mean, so far we've not really developed any of the actual threat to this settlement, have we? We've had a series.
Sadly, a number of efforts to just tease something out.
Yeah. I will. You know what? I will simply go over to the lady and bow and say, straightforwardly, we are greetings, my lady. We didn't get much chance to introduce ourselves earlier, but we are travelers, and God himself calls us upon our journey to deal with darkness in this land. And I fear the darkness in your own settlement may have gripped the tongues of your warrior and your priest.
I get the feeling you're trying to have her tell you what's amiss.
Yeah, I mean, the people who live in a settlement would tend to be the people who would know what, like when someone's been killing our livestock or whatever, right? So yeah.
I'll have you roll look about you, because then you could tell me what she says if you wanted to.
Okay. That's a 9.
And sense. Oh, nine altogether. Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to try and up that to a 10 by helping yourself with recourse to your god?
No, because all I get on that is advantage if I then act on the answer that I receive, rather than
okay.
do.
So do you want to ask me a question, or do you want to agree with what she says?
I want to agree with what she says, and I think what I'd like her to say is that there was a great and strange fire in the church, blue fire, that consumed it, but Magnus walked free of the flames without bearing a mark, and has thus been tasked by God himself, clearly, to gather the faithful of the village, although she does worry about how they are set to work to harvest materials, to gather materials for the new construction, and it is most strange how they not most strange, but she appears uneasy at the fervour of their faith beneath in this task, perhaps.
That it's in, because they seem to lack a spark. So you're saying that they're not fervent in this.
What I'm saying is that they are fervent purely in the sense of like they are like machines, that like they are dedicated, they are lack a spark because we are seeing them in the village. But when Magnus puts them to work, that's when they are.
Right. Okay.
And I'm trying to just outright say Magnus is mind controlling the villagers in some way,
Okay. So right, that is what she tells you. Let me go back to Caddock, where things were getting a little bit tempestuous in that argument, which was two-way, and now is drifting into being three-way, Caddock.
I mean, I tried to calm it down, and he was like, why should I listen to you, basically, or what is...
Yeah. So what have you got to offer?
I got to offer a story of a battle, obviously, because I think that's what he'd be interested in, right? So I'd kind of distract him with us, see, we were in Frithingast, and we had an awful battle against some raiders from I don't know where exactly. And
now I will remind you that I think some of you are owed some debts by Gwynedd, it would be possible for you to cash in those debts with some of the locals if there's a reasonable reason for them to have been at that battle.
Well,
I'm not suggesting you do that now.
I
just
don't
want to
have
make
any
that
debts
available.
with the Gwynedd guys, peoples. I will just this is my distraction, what I offer him to lure him into. And then there was this guy with an axe, and it was a very blind. Then I described the axe. He seems to be like someone who would be interested. Like you nowadays, you talk about cars with a guy, and this is what I try to do. He's a warrior. I'm a warrior.
Do you play up the faith end of this?
No,
or is it just okay? So this sounds like roll with subtle then.
I have already rolled with subtle. I had a 7. And
sorry, you're presenting. I beg your pardon. I misunderstood.
Yes.
Then no, I think the battle does work. I think as a way, and it certainly gets his attention. I think probably allows Mangus to kind of just back off from the conversation. Because clearly Rin is better put together than Mangus, and so Mangus drifts away, perhaps towards the Lady Becca. Black Gel, how many eggs are we up to?
I think in Cool Hand Luke style, I'm up to at least 8.
8 eggs. And there's a little group of people around, keeping an eye on you to fictionally explain that disadvantage you're currently at. Do you want to do anything else, or is the egg trick going to carry on?
No, I'm going to start spouting gibberish at all the people in front of me and spray bits of egg, literally from left to right, all over them.
When you noisily draw attention to yourself by shouting gibberish and spraying bits of egg, roll plus sense.
At disadvantage.
At disadvantage.
That's not too bad. 5, 6, 7.
There you go. On 7th place, say who or what stops doing what they were doing, confused, allowing another hero to act unopposed, or if they were yet to act, to grant them advantage. So who's distracted in this?
Can it be anybody in the hall?
Could be anybody in the hall.
I think it will be. It's got to be Magnus. Seems utterly distracted by the spray of egg.
Yeah, he's backing away from the argument while Caddock spins this tale of the Battle of Thringingas, and he turns away, and there's a spattering of fragments of egg. Which hero do you think this allows to act unopposed or with advantage, depending on circumstances?
Okay, so let's look at the 2 parts of the mechanics of that. So, allowing another hero to act. Is anybody actually opposed?
I'm not sure anyone is deeply engaged. I mean, Solinus is having a conversation with Lady Becca. Caddock is telling war stories.
I'm stuck with this guy now.
And Finn is dripping ale over there and a bit of a laughing stock. So I don't think anybody's deeply engaged.
I think the egg spray tactic allows Solinus some quiet time with Lady Becca. And Fine. He can roll at advantage.
Because Mangus was going over there anyways, wasn't he?
He was.
Lady Becca's eyes and her, forthrightness suddenly tapered off as she saw Magnus approaching, and then, a little laugh as she sees it. Yeah.
So do you kind of, my lady, just come away from all of this? Is there literally a quiet moment?
I think as Solinus sees her eyes flicker over to Mangus and him and then suddenly stop and start to harangue Black Gel for getting egg in his, maybe like even swearing as the egg lands in his eye.
Egg on his face.
Egg on his face, literally. But I think that Solinus will say, well, the burden of God can be heavy. Perhaps we could take the air together. It's uncommon, and regain our senses, and lead her outside for a quiet word, basically, away from the prying eye. Like they say God sees everything, but I'm pretty sure his servants don't. You know what I mean?
And I think I'll go with that. Thanks for the reminder, Jose, that you do have a start of session move. So shall we do seeming human now, with Solinus leads
As
the Lady Becker
Caddock does
outside?
as well.
Indeed. I think Solinus, probably one of her ladies will come, because some kind of propriety for the chaste Lady Becker has to be in place.
Got to be the lustful wife, right? Spouse.
Oh, yes. Her spouse will come with her.
The Lady Becker, aren't they? Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, I know one of them ladies. Sorry, I forgot. In my head, it was Run's spouse.
Oh, I think he hit button B instead of button A. Anyway, I'm sure Will come back in a moment.
Is it a good time for break?
Can I just do seeming human, and then I'll come back to Caddock's start of session after we break. So Finn, let's have you roll for seeming human. Roll plus soul to see whether any of your bestial nature reveals itself.
That's a 9 plus 2 is an 11. So yeah, so what I imagine is that when he pours the ale over Finn, Finn shakes his head and he looks out from his wet hair, and his eyes burn red a little bit, but the storyteller does not notice.
Fine. We are on the hour. Shall we get back in our seats at 10 past it? And we'll pick up with that other start of session move. So as Solinus leads the Lady Becker and her handmaiden out of the hall for a quiet chat in the outside, let's go to Caddock, because we had the start of session for our skin changer. But Caddock, your start of session move is enemy of God, I think.
Yes.
So tell us something else you did for God that was dishonorable, that doesn't involve a priest of Woden and a sack of potatoes.
Oh, that was not dishonorable. I mean, that was me dishonoring him. That was not me dishonoring myself. I mean, what did I do that I consider dishonorable? I think in this case, it was more like, there was this graveyard, and that people started coming back, and so we had to take care of that. And then there was this grave digger, and he saw the whole thing, and he might have been infected, or he might have not been infected, but my superior said I better make sure that he will never be a problem again. And so I did, and I don't know, I don't feel that was particularly honorable.
Right. Well, I think you better pray to the victim, the gravedigger, for forgiveness, and roll plus steel to maintain your iron devotion.
Yep. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, that goes as I expected. It's a 6.
Oh my goodness. You are unworthy of aid. Oh God, a debt, in the hope he notices your desire to do his bidding in future.
Yep. Hey, that was the same thing I rolled last time.
It was.
Okay, good. Sorry, move. No, it's just my dice.
I do want to offer you the chance. I mean, it won't make any difference in terms of the debt, but you could improve that by helping yourself, because you are a sword of God.
You're right. You're right. I will do that. Thank you for the reminder.
You still end up owing God a debt.
Yeah,
but it does
I
re-rolls one.
Do I re-roll one or both?
Either one or both. Take your pick.
I think I'll re-roll both. Yeah, that's better. That's a 7 in the roll. That's a 9. Yep.
Okay. So on 7, you hold one to spend now or later in the session to say how a vision identifies an enemy of God against who you will roll with advantage. However, on a 7 to 9, God tells you to do something you consider dishonorable. So is there something that God wants you to do by the end of this session that is on a par with, we've heard about you stealing things, and now we've heard about you killing a potential innocent. We're looking for something in that spectrum. What is it God wants?
What is it God wants? I think God wants people to respect his priest, probably. So maybe I have to start a fight with the warrior after all.
Okay, so you need to take the side of the priest at some point.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Despite the fact that you don't particularly, Rin, he's a warrior. You made a connection in that discussion of war story.
Yeah, but the other priest is, and I need to see the priest before long because I need to confess my sins.
Fine. So you need to take Mangus's side. Okay.
Yeah.
I do also want to tell you that now that you're at a settlement, you can seek solace in friendship if you wanted to, and you can seek some healing if that's what you want to do. That wearied and wounded will be cleared by tomorrow morning if you just spend the night at rest, but dying is going to need more than that. Okay, so I'll let you consider that.
Yeah.
While I go, I think, to Black Gel, whose escapade with the eggs has worked in as much as Solinus has managed to get Lady Becca on her own. Gel, what do you want to? What, if anything, do you want to do now?
I think I'm going to wander outside and see what seems to be affecting the people in the town.
Okay, go and seek a villager. Finn, what about you?
I was thinking maybe Finn would approach Caddock and have a scene there, but if Caddock's open to that.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't know if any of those any of those mechanics that you were talking about healing, I don't know if that is something that happens with other PCs or what.
Well, what you need to get rid of dying is a move of some description. So I don't know if any of you. I think, hang on, I've just noticed. I think Caddock, you took as your improvement balm of God.
Yeah. I have a relic now.
You have a relic, which would give you potentially advantage, I think, if you wanted to do that. So, but I'm very open to the idea of a conversation about your temptation for longing. Seek solace in friendship with Finn. If that's agreeable. I think what I'll say is that Black Gel has drifted outside. Solinus has gone outside. I think that the egg incident has probably brought the evening, in terms of what's going on in the hall, to broadly a close. So people are going to their sleeping places, and maybe we see Finn and Caddock on their own in the hall. But I'll come back to you while you think about what you want to be talking about in terms of longing, and go to Solinus, who is outside. How full is the moon by this point, Solinus?
Oh, gibbous.
Oh, a gibbous moon. And so you are taking the air with Lady Becca. Her handmaiden is behind her to ensure decorum is maintained. What's the nature of the conversation?
Every settlement that we've been to in our travels, there's always a balance between the Lord and the voice of God, be they the Christian God or those of the old ways. I note from your look that maybe Mangus is the loudest voice here in the village.
The sainted Mangus has been blessed by God. When the church, and she gestures to the dark shadow of the broken church and the kind of slightly sepulchral tower, when the devilish flame claimed the church, the sainted Mangus walked from the flames unhurt. And I tell you, Solinus, that the very stench of hell itself hung over the church. It was devils and demons came to assault him, and yet he survived.
Well, truly the Lord is merciful and righteous in those he spares. But your man Rin, sorry, I'll never get the hang of the pronunciations. He seemed concerned at the villagers, and I must say, on the way in, they seemed a wan and pale lot.
They are tired. They are tired. But that is because of their fervour in seeking to repair the church. And she probably will drift over in the direction of the church. So,
yeah,
so
I was thinking of walking towards that, looking among its things. Yeah.
And I think, as well as the tower, you'll see just the framework, the wooden framework that's being built around the tower is beginning to take shape. Look at what their fervour and belief is building. It is a miracle.
It is indeed. And I'd like to peer closely at the construction of the church. Fine work this is. Even in Londinium, we have not such masonry.
Is that triggering look about you?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Go ahead.
Do I get advantage on this, or because I haven't used that one yet from?
You haven't.
Yeah.
I'll give you the benefit of that. Yeah. Yes, I think that she's trusting of you at this point.
Which is lucky because I'm at that puts me at a 7. Otherwise, I would have failed.
Again. So on a 7, choose one. Okay. Ask me a question.
Yeah. Oh no, I have actually. Yeah. One question.
Or once per scene, one of the heroes can declare a detail.
I think that as I inspect I go over to the stonework, and something, my foot goes across the floor, and I study, and it does look fine, and then I look down, and I notice that there is amidst the dirt and the sand of the there is something beneath the earth, below the church, and I sweep it aside with one hand, and you can see the beginnings of the edge of a rune that is beneath the church floor. Something that makes the eyes skitter off it and feels unholy.
Fine. A symbol that should not be seen. Now, I'm going to assume that is the insight that you're going to claim from this scene. Yeah. Well, do you want to add that to the Brangarw insights and put your name to it? Mm-hmm. In terms of whether one of the others wants to claim an insight from events in the hall before we forget about them, I'm inclined to go to Caddock first because you will most closely engage with that argument. Finn and Blackgel, for the most part, were playing a kind of distractive role. So Caddock, do you want to claim an insight from that opening scene in the hall, or from the argument between the two?
Yeah, I think I want to claim a point of insight from the argument in the hall. And I want to say that when I sat next to him, Turin, I saw that he had on his wrist some sort of pagan protective tattoo that I chose to ignore, but he did. He did. Maybe that's why he was arguing so fervently. Who knows? Right.
So would you like to put something like Rin's pagan tattoo as an insight and attach your name to it? And then let's have this kind of conversation between Finn and Caddock.
Okay. So I think we see Finn approach Caddock. They've been kind of separate at the hall thus far. And he says, Caddock, the common folk are suffering here. This priest is running them ragged. Their souls are drained.
It is the lot of the common folk to be suffering, Finn. they will gain their reward in heaven, I'm certain of it.
Why is your Christian God so demanding? Demands the very life of people.
Well, he gave his son to us to pay for our sins. We are a sinful lot, my friend.
And this debt we pay with our lives now?
Well,
our livelihoods?
our lives are but a brief spark. Our souls are what's eternal. And our reward awaits us in heaven, or not, if we fail. We are cast down in hell, tortured by demons for all eternity. God protects us from that. Is that not worth a little suffering?
And what about our lives now?
They do not matter.
Oh, Kadok, how can you be so sure of yourself?
This is what I've been taught since I was a child. I am of the order of Saint Adrian. We are proud to give our lives in the service of God.
It would be fine if it was just you and the faithful who believe this. But why is your God so hungry for converts? Why must they come and turn every village to the Christian faith?
To save their souls, because otherwise they will be cast into hell. If you are not with God, you are against him.
Even against their choice? Priests came to my village. They wanted to baptize us all.
Well, they wanted to save your souls from the eternal flames of hell, Finn, and I wish you would accept Jesus Christ as your Savior.
We did not accept. But they returned with Saxon warriors and forced us all to be baptized. So I have been baptized. Although it meant nothing to me, Kadok.
It means something to God. And God is infinitely more wise than the both of us.
So you will help this priest here? Is that what you're saying?
I'm called upon it. I have sworn to obey.
Every priest? That is quite a burden.
Yeah, well, I have been given more than most. I have been trained. I have not been hungry much in my life, only for training and for that. Yeah.
I care for you, my friend, but I cannot agree with what you're saying.
I understand that. And I am not called to convert you. I'm not called to be a missionary. I'm called right now to fight the darkness, and that you have been steadfast. And I can only hope that maybe God will touch you and you will see the light.
Perhaps.
I think that it's time to work out whether in your heart of hearts that makes any difference, Kadok. So would you like to roll 2d6 plus soul?
Ooh.
To seek solace in this attempt at friendship, connection?
I have been thrown out of the thingy, and I have to I've rejoined. Wow, no, I've got a 5.
They listened patiently, but you have not found value in their counsel. It sounded a bit to me, Finn, like rather than trying to assuage a longing, that was a degree of preaching. But of course, you can seek to help yourself, Kadok. If you wish to owe God another debt.
You know why? But why not? Because if I owe God more debts, that's a burden on me and not on my friend, and so I will re-roll these. No, I will re-roll this one, and the other one is 4. That's good enough for me. Come on. So it's still a 6, so that is still with soul.
Oh my goodness me.
Nope.
God is really
God does not
asking
want
a
me
lot
to-
and giving very little.
Well,
Okay.
that's
Can I help in any way, or is that not possible?
No, well, I think you helped by being
already
in the
helped enough.
conversation. Yeah.
Got
Your
it.
work here for the pagan gods is done. And you cannot seek solace again until you reach a new settlement, Caddock.
Yep. Yeah, well, I am not fit for solace because I am a sinful human being, because I actually was longing for connection with Finn in ways that might not have been totally Christian, so I have deserved this punishment.
Yes, God should be all you need. Black Gel, let's go to you. You went off into the village in search of some villagers. I think probably by this time, most of the village is quiet. People are abed, but you can see there is a light burning over on the other side of the church, the ruined church, which was in the middle of the village. Is that where you head, or are you going to wake somebody up?
No, let's go in that direction and see what's going on.
And as you approach, you can hear the sound of wood being worked. It sounds like someone is taking a blade to a chunk of wood and maybe smoothing it or shaping it.
Let's see what's going on there.
I think you'll see a woodworker, a crafter in wood, working on a long piece of what will be a beam, perhaps, for the church. And as he is working it, he's reciting something. You spent enough time with Caddock. He's reciting some kind of Christian psalm or prayer or verse, something. And he sounds celebratory.
I'm going to consider, what's the point of this bloke this time of life? This is very unusual. So look about me.
Yeah, I mean, certainly unusual, simply given that normal, the people you've seen have been exhausted.
The time of day.
Exactly. They've been exhausted and stumbling about, yet here he is singing the praises of God while he works a beam. So yeah, do by all means roll plus sense.
10.
10. So on a 10, do you want to ask a question, or do you want to agree with me some addition to the fiction?
I think I'll agree a bit of fiction with you.
Go on.
I think while he's working, we see him stuffing some sort of plant into his mouth. And when I ask him about it, he describes it as manna from God. But it's slightly sort of stinking and vegetable rotty looking. And he is yamming that in his mouth.
I'm going to add Pi the crafter, the wood crafter, to the village, because I think he's an interesting character. And eating manna from God. And I go further than that, I think, and say that his hand, the hand he's using an adze to kind of try to shape this beam, and his hand is blistered and bloody, and yet still he's going for it while he chews this material. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you want to go any further in this scene?
Yeah, I'd like to sort of grab him and say, "Friend, stop, look at your hands. What are you doing?" I'd like to convince him to stop, and I think I'll offer him a bit of my food instead of this gunk.
I think.
Well, I'll try to.
Yeah, well, I think you'd have to give me a good reason why he should do as you ask, given that he is clearly high on something and engaged in a task. I think it's looking more like face a challenge than convince.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to stop him and hold him, sort of thing.
Physically grasp him.
Yeah.
So that sounds like roll with steel.
Okay. Now I have advantage from my look about me.
You do?
So I'll roll 10 plus. Didn't need it.
It's so frustrating when you don't need it, isn't it? 6 and
Now
2
my
5s.
steal is -1, so it does reduce it to 10.
Oh, a mere 10. So on 7+, you do it, but the fate chooses 1. Respite is temporary. I think the sense you get is that when you let him go, he will go back to this. Such is his fervour. But on a 10+, say how you gain advantage or impress a watching immortal NPC, which is only him, so that the settlement owes you a debt. I'm struggling to see the fictional positioning for that.
I think the advantage is he sort of lapses out of whatever this manner is, and he sort of pleads to me, "Help me, my friend, help me."
Oh, yes.
And then he slips back.
Let's cancel the advantage and let's have that, because I think that's rather a neat kind of end to the scene. And then he falls to his knees exhausted, and then takes a deep breath, takes up the adze, and goes back to work, reaching into his belt pouch and taking another something. Do you want to declare an insight from that scene?
Let me switch to yes.
It's the settlement one.
Yeah, I think townsfolk forced to consume mana.
Good enough for me. Yeah.
Yep.
I think we've had Solnus and Becca. I think we've had Black Gel. I think we had a conversation with Caddock and Finn. Unless anyone is very keen to do something else tonight, I think that I'm going to offer a night's rest in the hall, an opportunity for Caddock to unmark wearied and wounded, and ask the question about whether you want to try your luck at any trying to find a healer, Caddock.
Yep, that was...
or indeed healing yourself.
Yeah, can I do that? I will try that if I can. Maybe my dice will like me this time.
Certainly God has not been kind to you yet. Now, sooner or later I'm going to start spending these debts to make life difficult for you, but I think I'll just let it build up for now. So, Balm of God, roll plus soul.
Okay, soul again. Yeah. Okay, I will pray with this relic I've got.
Gives you advantage.
Does it? Okay. Is this just a one time, or is this
just a one time?
Then I will spare I will pray fictionally with the relic, but I won't use it on myself. Okay? Fine. So I won't roll with advantage. I roll these dice. There's an 8. Yay.
About time. On 7+, choose one. Clear dying.
Yep, that's
no brainer.
Yep, no brainer.
Yep,
I'm clearing dying.
Cool. And cut to the following morning. Sheep begin to bar and cows begin to move for care. But the thing that really wakes you up is the sound of people singing hymns. I'm going to assume you go to the door, the gates, the door to the hall, and you look out, and that lethargic village population that you saw when you arrived at dusk yesterday, now they are singing prayers and carrying stone and hammering wood and all those things. Finn, we haven't started with you for a while. And given your conversation with Caddock last night, this does appear to be people engaged in God's work.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do?
Wow. So do we assume that what Black Gel discovered we all know at this point, or do we have any conversations that we don't have to have those conversations, right? Okay. I think Finn is going to. I think maybe Black Gel, if this is okay, Paul, did get some of that mana, and Finn is going to try to, with his whatever wildcrafting abilities he has, try to identify what that stuff is.
I think that's stretching the fiction. I don't think Black
Okay.
Gel made an effort. I'd have made him roll, I
Okay.
think, to try and get that. So
I'll
you
try to
know of
get
it.
Oh well, maybe I'll
Yeah.
try to find it then.
Okay. So where are you gonna start here? How are you gonna go about finding some of this stuff? I tell you what, think about it.
Okay.
Let me go to Solinus and say, Solinus, Finn was clearly very interested in what Black Gel had to say about this material that the populace are, or at least the carpenter, the woodcrafter, is eating. You've shared what you found out from Becca. What do you want to do first thing in the morning?
I think I'll have perhaps been woken by Black Gel poking me in the back and telling me about this smith, this carpenter, this obsessive carpenter. And as we hear the village erupting into him or whatever, I'm going to look and see if I can see this this figure and see, not just the villagers' stress behavior.
I have need of you. This woodworker, he had something we need, but he would not give it up. I have an idea. Why do we not go to him? I will show him my egg-eating trick, and maybe you can acquire some of the stuff we need.
I mean, your egg-eating trick does work wonders, Gel. Lord Magnus can attest to that, but whatever it is that you're after, I think that our man might be busy. And as we step outside and we see all hands seem to be at work on the church, a church where something most unholy seems to reside beneath, and it seems to be consuming whatever the villagers are consuming. They seem to be consumed by their work. You said that he was peeling his own hand, like he was injuring himself in his work, right?
Indeed.
So would I need to look about me to spot whether, because I'm imagining these villagers as having like cuts, scrapes, injuries that they're just working through, right? And they don't seem to be
before you go too far, I think that Paul was trying to push you towards light-fingered.
Yes,
no, I know.
Basically, I want to speak in tongues, grant you an advantage. You want to steal it, and then you'll get an XP. That is what I want to do.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll get an XP for
being light-fingered. I looked through your character sheet. I know what you get XP for.
I won't get because it'll be my role, right? Yeah, cheating or stealing in a good cause. Yeah,
it's a good cause. We need it.
It's a great one. I just don't want to step on Jose's look for mana. But I suppose
we can get it and then give it to Jose. It fulfills all three things.
Cool. I wasn't sure. I didn't want to step on that. But cool. Let's do that then. I will. Let's go and break into their houses and steal the mana.
Well, I think that what we've seen so far is that they carry this supply with them, and you will see some of them going to their little pouches and just stuffing it in their mouth. So I think this is about being light-fingered by pickpocketing. So Black Gel, you seem to have a plan.
I do have a plan. I'm going to start sort of like monkeying up and down in front of some of these people, doing monkey sounds, which they may have never seen. I in my travels when I was a prince, I saw exotic beasts and animals. So I know what this is, and I will start doing this ridiculous impression in front of these people, because I can't really remember it that well. It's a clouded past.
Okay.
Yes, and I will try and distract them.
Right. Let's have you. I'm looking at speaking in tongues here rather than capering fool, though it seems to me to fulfill both. So yeah, let's have you speak in tongues. Roll plus sense.
12.
Okay, so on a 7+, say who or what stops doing what they were doing. I think you're saying it's the woodworker.
Yes.
Yeah. And
I will grant
that-
advantage to my colleague.
fine. So, despite the fervour, he stops in his recitation of the Psalms and looks at Black Gel, allowing you, Solinus, to do what?
To steal that pouch that is along his as I brush past him.
Fine. When you try to steal something, roll plus sense.
That is a +10, thanks to my advantage.
Well, at last it paid off. So on
Yeah.
7+ you succeed, but the Fates chooses 1. You are seen and confronted. Now say what clue you leave that will lead to a later confrontation.
10+.
Yeah, and then on a
Oh,
10+,
always
say
choose
how
one.
you say how you escape and how any consequences are directed elsewhere. So I think that as Black Gel finishes his capering or the prayer reasserts itself, he goes to his pouch and notices it's gone. But on a 10+, you get to say how you escape and how any consequences, i.e. confrontation now, go somewhere else rather than to you.
I think that his eyes cloud and he lunges straight for the pouch of a villager next to him, like hungry, and it becomes a small fracas as between these two.
Fighting over this manor. Yeah. Does that Black Gel, Solinus, does that grant you an insight? And I think given you described that climax to that, Solinus, I'm going to go to you and ask if that grants you an insight.
I mean,
doesn't have to.
What we have currently is that the villagers are eating forced to consume manna. I would say that the villagers are addicted to it. Have an unnatural hunger for it.
Fine.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a modification of Black Gel's.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. They're forced to consume it because they are addicted to it. Yeah. So if you want to add that in at the back end of the Black Gel one, and then you have a sample to show Finn. Now,
I bring it over to Finn and I shove the pouch straight under his nose and I say, "What do you sniff at that one then, Finn?"
All right, so this could either be me just sniffing it out right here to see if I can figure something out about it, or I could try to find the source of it, where it's stored, because they all have small quantities, right? You said they all carry small quantities.
They do.
Yeah.
I would love it if Finn snatches it from my hand and just goes like, "Don't insult me," and then.
That's it.
So yeah, I mean, this could be look about you, because you are you're a skin changer, but your seeming, your mortal seeming, is that of a Celtic mystic. So I think it is possible that you might be able to use look about you for this, or you could make a guess as to where it comes from and go and see if you can find the origin point of this.
Yeah, I think we see Finn snatch it, rub his nose in it, and then without saying a word to his compatriots, he goes running off, and he's going to try to search it down. And I think he could be doing this by sense. He could also be doing it by soul, in the sense of the magic within it is what he's trying to find, and the source of that. But in either case, is it a lookabout or?
Well, you could just tell me where you go, because I mean there is I'm thinking there's a dangerous bog.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean that could be. You could say this smells of this is a bog plant.
Yeah, the bog that we passed on the way in. Yeah, and I can imagine
thinking caverns, right? Which,
Oh, stinking caverns. They were stinky to begin with. Maybe it reminds me of the stench of the bog, of the cavern. Yeah. Either way.
I think given its plant material, I think we've established that. I think the dangerous bog is the likely origin point for this.
The other thing I was thinking about from a move perspective is I could invoke my gift when I reach the bog to try to understand something through a vision or through the sight.
You could.
Okay, then I think we see him running off, and once he clears the village, transforming into a wolf and running into the dangerous bog in leaps and bounds. Yeah.
Leaving everyone behind, or do the others want to kind of chase after friend Finn? Gel?
Foolish beast! It's not in the bog. It's in the cavern. And I'm going to complicate the matter by telling an uncomfortable truth. It grows in the cavern. I'm going to wander off there.
You're heading to a stinking cavern. Caddock. Finn is heading to the dangerous bog. Black Gel is going to the stinking cavern. Do either of those locations attract you?
I was actually going to help the villagers rebuild their church.
Okay.
There was a hymn, and they were building a church, and
they were.
And also maybe I can find something out while they're doing that, right? Because then I get access to the church and get to snoop around there.
Okay.
I've heard some weird things from my compatriots here about
you
this
have.
Church.
Solinus found this. How did we describe it? An unnatural symbol beneath the new foundations of the church. So Solinus, the other three have scattered to different places. What do we see?
I mean, I think they go running off, and Solinus, leans back and goes, "There's still more answers to be found in the village, you fools." And then he turns, "Well, at least Caddock, Caddock?" And then just sees Caddock lumbering with a limb of the timber, and he shakes his hand and says, "Lord save me." And I am in fact going to seek out what's he called? I'm debating whether to seek out the priest or the pious warrior. You know what? I'm going to seek out the priest.
Okay. So we're scattered hither and yon. It is 53 minutes past the hour. I'm inclined to say let's take a 7-minute break and be back in our seats on the hour, because we seem to have scattered. Divide the party? Why not? See you in a bit, Dov. So I think when we return from the commercial break, I think we'll do it in the order we declared. So let's go to Finn, racing in his wolf form towards this dangerous bog. Yeah. I will tell you that the danger here is just that you may hurt yourself, because you could get your foot trapped in a bit of soft ground and twist it, or so it is a physical risk. And if you want to check out the locations tab, there's my kind of guide. So dangerous, steal to avoid a physical risk or hazard. So when you arrive at the bog and you begin to pick your way through it, looking for the plant that you're sure that you recognize, if only you could see it growing. The scent was so familiar, but you need to see that plant growing. So let's have you roll to face a challenge with steel, Finn.
Okay. Am I unmuted?
You are unmuted.
Sorry, too many tabs to find out where I'm at. Steel is +1. Let's see. That's a 10.
What do you know? So that goes perfectly, doesn't it? On 7+, sorry, where have I gone? Down here. On 7+, you do it, but the fate chooses 1. I'm going to give you 1 harm. So I'm going to have you mark wearied, because it's hard work picking your way through here. Okay. But on 10+, say how you also gain advantage. I don't think there's no mortal observing your finesse. So what is it that grants you advantage here?
And that's advantage to something in the future, or advantage
to whatever you do next?
To what I'm doing right now. To what happened next. Right.
Yes.
Um,
And I will try to lean into whatever you declare is.
so it could involve the actual finding of the herb, right?
It could.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we do. He does find the plant on a small hillock in the bog, and he comes out and he's maybe limping a little bit from exhaustion from all the swimming, and it's deeper than he thought.
Well, that's certainly the plan. Now we go to the other bit of location, which is bog, and you roll to see whether how well does this go. So this sounds like you were using your knowledge of herbs,
Yes.
or your agility to get to where the herbs are. It's either steel for the agility bit of this, or sense for what you remember of your training as an apprentice mystic. Which one do you prefer?
It's going to be a look around.
No, there is a move called location place.
Oh, location place. Okay, well, why don't I go ahead and I'll try sense.
Okay, roll with sense.
Okay, let me mark sense. I roll at -1. Oh, but I have advantage on this one?
You do.
Okay. So that is an 8 minus 1 is a 7.
7, which is all that matters, isn't it? So on 7-9, choose one. You gain an explicit insight into the darkness you are here to confront. What is it? You identify the opportunity for insight, and I will give you an obstacle you have to overcome to get to. Or you avoid the threat that is present here, for now at least. So you get to pick one of those. Do you want an insight, or do you want to avoid the threat?
Why don't we go for an insight, since we seem to be trying to rack those up?
Fine. Do you want to declare an insight here, or do you want to ask me to do it? Because you do indeed find that plant on a hillock.
I think maybe the insight is that when I see the plant, I remember that it is a plant sacred to one of the old gods. I want to say a god of the underworld. I'm trying to remember who the old gods are. Sorry,
Yeah, I mean, don't sweat that.
Don't sweat that.
Don't let
Okay.
that hold you up.
Right.
So the insight is something like a herb sacred to the old gods.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Attach your name to that.
Right.
But you didn't choose to avoid the threat. So as you reach into this clump to get a sample, a snake bites you.
Okay.
And you are subject to some venom.
Aye.
Okay. So I'm going to give you another harm as that snake bites you and injects poison into you. You are currently poisoned. We'll worry about the effect of that or how you can cure it shortly. Let's cut back to Caddock. No, sorry, I think it was Black Gel who was next off. Black Gel heading for these stinking caverns.
Indeed.
Yeah, and I think there's a crack in this great kind of chunk of rock that's erupted out of the terrain, perhaps a mile away on a hillside. There's a crack in this, and there is a foul odor that comes out of here. And the challenge you have to face for stinking is roll steel to avoid retching.
No. So egg comes up everywhere.
And there is I mean, that's perhaps what set it off. There is that slight smell of rotten eggs coming out of the ground. And you are at disadvantage for your next action. Because the retching doesn't stop. But this is a cavern. Explicit insight could be something hidden. Opportunity for insight could be somewhere inaccessible, and avoid the threat, that which haunts the dark places. So let's have you roll. How do you? What's the approach you're taking to these caverns in search of whatever you're after?
I think sort of like cover my eyes from the sun, try and adjust my eyes to the darkness, and slowly walk in, sort of full and sick from my mouth, post-retch.
I think that then let's have you roll. That sounds like you're steeling yourself against the offensive smells, or is that not fair?
I think I'm trying to see what's going on in there.
Okay, I'll let you roll with sense then. At disadvantage, of course.
Of course. 4, 5, 6. I think I'll help myself.
Okay, so help yourself. To do that, you have to say how your calling or mortal seeming is relevant to the current action.
So my calling is
the loon.
Well, I think I've got the second sight, or maybe the third sight. So that grants me ability to see which may be there or may not be there.
Okay, I'll go with that. I'm probably being soft, but I'm just in a good mood. So go ahead.
So mechanically, I need to now owe
your god a debt to re-roll 1 or 2 of those dice.
So my favor automatically drops.
It does.
And
how does Woden help? Is what we're let's see if he helps first.
Let's re-roll. Oh, my lost connection to the server. That's very annoying, isn't it? So I've got a 5, 1, and a 3. Let me come back to me. It's still there. Let's re-roll the 1.
Difficult choice. Turns a failure into a 10.
Into a 10.
Oh no, you still have to take the bottom 2, don't you? That's a 5 and a 3 is 8. I beg your
pardon. Plus 2, 10.
Oh. Oh, well, there's just no fun to be had, is there? So on a 10, rather than a 6, choose 2. Explicit insight, opportunity for insight, and or avoid the threat.
I'm going to go for avoid the threat.
Okay.
And I'm going to go for explicit insight.
Fine. I think the explicit insight I'm going to offer you here, or the evidence to construct one from, is that you find that as you go into this, there's a crusting of a yellow mineral, and also the stench is what the Christians say hell smells like. It's almost like this is a way down to hell, but the smell, you got a whiff of it from the bits of old timber that they have kind of taken away from the church and discarded. So this yellow mineral is somehow connected to that fire. Yeah.
So we're going to put this on the insight tab.
Yeah.
So
in
how
a
should
punchy, something like
yellow mineral linked to the fire.
A mineral that smells of hell. And I go further, has been collected. You can see where some of it has been scraped off. Okay. Caddock, you wanted to get to work with the villagers.
Yes, I wanted to.
I think we last saw you carrying a chunk of wood from perhaps the woodworkers towards the church site. What's your objective here? What do we see you doing?
I will Yeah, I will get into the church by that, and I will want to look around. I want to see maybe how the fire started, because I know all about starting fires in the name of God, right? I mean,
Yeah, you've burned a lot of pagan shrines in your time. So roll to look about you, roll plus sense.
hey, yay, plus sense, nice. Yep, it's an 8.
So on an 8, do you want to ask a question or do you want to declare a detail as long as I agree with it?
Let me, is there a list of the questions
Yeah,
that I could
yeah.
ask?
If you look about you, is on the common
yeah,
moves.
I found it. Okay. Okay. Ask a question. Yeah, I think the question I would like to ask is, how did the fire start?
Deliberately.
Yeah, okay.
And I think I go further and say that you spot a corner of that tower where the fire started, and it stinks of hell.
Oh, I crossed
Brimstone.
myself. Yeah,
smells of brimstone.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Is that a point of insight?
I think that's a very clear insight.
Okay, cool.
You're getting together at a rate of knots now.
Haha. Yeah, I'll add it to the thingy.
That with that one in, you have 6 insights, which would mean you could roll for a revelation at +2 now. But let's go to Solinus. Solinus, you were going in search of someone.
Yeah, I was originally thinking Mangus, but just looking at what we got in terms of our insights now. I'll still go in search of Magnus, the priest.
Okay. Yeah. And he is there preaching, stood on a box, a big stone that's been placed so he can preach to the people while they work fervently on rebuilding the church. And it is remarkable, even since yesterday, you can see the walls are rising. It's not quite, raising a barn, but it is certainly going up at a fair old rate.
Yeah, and I wait for him to, I think, he's not just preaching, right? He's sort of exhorting them to work, right?
He is.
So it's a ramble, like a speaker's corner style, ranting at them, and
yes,
I will clap.
For do you not wish to see the gates of heaven open before you? Do you not wish that St. Peter will welcome you with open arms? Build the church.
So impressive, my lord, to see one speak with such faith and with such fervor, and to whip these lazy dogs into such devotion to the Lord. Truly.
The Lord has blessed me. He saved me from the flames of the devil.
And I apologize for my indiscretion. I know it is a sin to spy upon the affairs of others, but I could not help but hear that oath of a warrior claim that you did not care about your flock last night. But I see that they are healthy and hale and energized for their work. And of course, you have clearly catered for your flock. Look at each of them. I can see that you have bestowed them with your own arms, as did the Lord himself. I will gesture towards the belts and the pouches around them, and I'm basically going to get his, what's his explanation for this manner.
So are you wanting to convince him to tell you the truth? I'm not sure you've got leverage for that at this point, unless you've got an idea for that, or are you confronting him as in face a challenge, or are you just trying to get an answer to a question?
I am getting what's his story for, because all the villagers have the manor, right? Like, clearly, it's one of the things with them, right? Like, and if I suppose that would be a look about me, perhaps, to have him slip and tell something, right? Versus just tell me whatever lie he's saying. You know?
Okay, let's have a look about you then.
Yeah, and I would even suggest that perhaps my look about me could be another character who was like, "Oh, what he's told you is bullshit" or something, you know. That is an 8.
So on an 8, I think this is asking a question. I don't think I'm happy for you to declare the answer on this occasion. And I think what he tells you is that God granted me a gift, not just the gift of surviving the devilish inferno that demons formed in the air and caused the fire, which burned with a blue light, a devilish, hellish blue light. But God gave me a great gift. While wandering, I came upon his manna, and his manna gives people power and energy and fervour, and the truth became clear to them.
And the lady of the town is not, those in the hall do not feast upon God's gift.
They do not need it. They are ready in the hands of God. My lady has blessed, has favored me, and as I am blessed by God, I have presented her and her kin with absolution from this task. For there are those on earth, and as there are in heaven, who are ruled upon, and those who rule, as are the ranks of the angels.
Truer words were never spoken. Truer words were never spoken. As he clutches the knife behind his back and dreams about plunging it in there. Cool.
Has that presented an insight, or is there somewhere else you want to go with this?
I mean, obviously the insight here is that the manner is the method of the mind control, right? I suppose that's just, I would say that's just enhancing, it's just adding to what they've already got there. The fact that those in the hall are spared, some sort of insight, right? Like what does it benefit him to spare the powerful, I suppose, here?
Okay, I think I'll go further then. And my lady has been good enough to write to the bishop, expressing a desire that I should be raised among the saints.
Okay, I like that. So yeah, I would say that as an insight is in the nobility. Is that the right word here in this sense? Yeah. The nobility are spared because their minds their influence is useful. You know, they couldn't do this if they were just mindless machines. You know. Solinus will, I think the scene closes with him that nodding and the looking out upon the workers and shuddering as Magus's face is gleeful and exhorting once more.
He is. And I'm inclined to bring you all back together unless somebody has something else they want to do. Once Will has hit return on his insight, we will have a complete set with which to work. Check in on Finn. Anything else after you come back apart from reporting a snake bite?
Yeah, I think Finn, we see him kind of back in his human form in the village, and we see him come up around a corner of a building where Caddock is, and he looks pale and poisoned, green a little bit.
Let's see how poisoned, shall we? So would you roll to face a challenge with steel, Finn?
Yes. So that is an 8 plus 1 is a 9.
So the creeping debilitation of this poison is held at bay for a while. Yeah.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'd have you mark your next box on condition.
Mhm.
What about black gel? Anything or back towards, yeah? Caddock, you notice Solinus has been talking to Bangus and his eyebrows go up as he backs away. Do you carry on working or do you join the others?
I would, if I see Finn looking poisoned, I would join him.
He looks very pale and wan as he comes
Oh.
back into the village. There's a bandage on his forearm, perhaps where he reached in to get this sample, and where he was bitten. So, what have you got in mind, Caddock?
I want to help him, of course. I feel that, well, to show him the grace of God, I guess. And I will.
These days.
I mean, I will obviously help you because you have been. God has put you here to be my companion, and you look pale and wan, and you have been bitten by a poisonous snake. And let me help you, and I will show you the relic of Saint Damien, who has fought. Let's say it's a relic of Saint Patrick, who has driven the snakes from Ireland, and who will be very helpful in this endeavor of trying to cure you.
So, does that mean you're going to invoke that advantage, or are you still keeping
Yes.
that? Okay, so roll with advantage plus soul.
Yep. Oh, it's a 7, so yay.
So on 7, choose one.
We'll clear this condition poisoned. Is that
Exactly? Yeah.
do that?
Cure a disease. Or one condition. Yeah. Works for me. We haven't really got into with Caddock how these interventions work. What do we see? I mean, balm of God, when you lay your hands on someone or something, what is it? Is it as simple as that?
Yes, it's as simple. I just lay my hand on carefully, and then I pray, close my eyes, pray, say a few words in Latin, which anybody who understands Latin is probably not grammatically very proper. This has been learned by rote. And then I will ask for the blessing of Saint Adrian for this warrior in our cause, and then you will feel a certain warmth in your arm. And I imagine it's a bit painful, actually, because this is Saint Adrian. He's kind of a bit of an asshole. So this is a bit painful, but it's still the wound clears up, like the infection goes back.
And I think Finn.
I'm cute.
Oh, go ahead. I think Finn
no, please.
A bit at the pain, and he has his hand on Caddock's arm and squeezes it strongly and looks up into Caddock's eyes with pain, but with trust that what Caddock is doing will cure him.
I'm just curious, Caddock. When you raise your hand up, is the venom in the palm of your hand? Have you literally drawn the venom from the wound, or have you simply neutralized it?
I like the idea of drawing the venom from the wound, yes, because if I fail, I can take the damage onto myself. So
Exactly.
So yeah, that makes sense. Yes, I have the poison in the palm of my hand, and I will I won't just discard it. No. This is poison after all. I will carefully.
Here's a well.
Yeah, no, yes, brilliant. No, I will put it in a sort of a rag or something and store it. I mean, I have to go back to the order, and maybe they can do something with it, like something beneficial, of course.
Of course, obviously. Okay, so the 4 of you are back together. Oh, Black Gel?
I think while Caddock and Finn's doing this, I'm going to hatch a cunning plan with my good friend Solinus and say, Solinus, I need your help again. The warrior, it was noticed that he seems impervious to the shenanigans going on here. There are a lot of townsfolk which could be called on to aid what we seek, I feel. So I think we could need some assistance. Now, I have some friends in this kingdom. Let us send the warrior as a runner to return with some other like-minded folk which seem unaffected by what is going on here. Please come with me while I try and persuade him to do my will.
All right, but
Well,
if
look,
be one egg, I'm not. I'm out.
well, look, there is a mechanic. Erase a debt to a settlement or faction when you agree with the fate which named mortal NPC enters the scene intending to help you. So you can simply spend a debt that Gwynedd owes you to declare the arrival of someone, perhaps drawn here by some strange sign or portent themselves.
I wanted the XP for convincing him.
Oh,
What? Come on. Okay, no, that's fine. If the mechanic is there for that, fine. We'll use the mechanic.
I'm really sorry, Paul. That was really bad of me. I am very happy for you to seek to convince Rin to be your messenger.
Excellent. Thank you.
Or convince him that because Gwynedd owes you a debt, he should be available. Yeah. So
Excellent.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I will explain to Black Gel about the manor and the.
Oh, that couldn't get much worse, could it?
Oh, a pair of ones. And so you go to him and say, what exactly do you say? That'll allow me to gauge the response.
Well, he was in. Well, I'm going to improve that for a start.
Okay, but just flesh out for me.
He was in conflict with the priest.
Yes,
and we think my logic is that whatever marking he has on him,
it's a
protects
pagan.
him.
Okay,
yes, it's protect him. So he was in conflict because he knows what's going on. And he knows it's wrong.
Okay.
So I want to convince him. Don't act alone. We're here, but there's a lot of townsfolk. Get a small warband.
I think that he will agree. And he mounts up and rides to a nearby settlement to rouse people. Yeah. So he's going to come back. I'm going to take off the table the opportunity to spend the debt to have someone arrive. I'm going to have someone arrive on the basis of that hard move on a 6. Okay. So with all of that. Oh, sorry. Right. Sorry. Yeah. No. What do you want to do?
I did want to re-roll that.
Help yourself.
That's a particularly bad roll.
I'm not quite sure how being a loon.
Well, I've got a friend here who might be able to assist me.
Oh, does somebody want to help another?
Right, like 1+1. I can't move it by a whole phase, can I?
No. They're outcome improved by 1 step.
1 step. Sorry, I was there. By 1 step. Yeah, I will.
It seems to be going pear-shaped when you see Black Gel, because he's not a very prepossessing character. He's not wiped all that sick out of his beard, apart from anything else.
Yeah, I will say that the priest has spared those in the hall whose influence and free mind serves his cause, but all you serve, brave warrior, is an obstacle. I bet your food's tasted awful strange last couple of days, or it soon will. I'm gonna.
That sounds like trying to convince him, so I think that's subtle.
That is a 6.
Worth a try.
Yeah, so the outcome remains a 6, and you are equally at risk from any move the fates makes. So I will take that hard move that I'd taken off the shelf, put it back on the shelf, and Rin rides into the distance, several miles to the nearest settlement to raise to raise some troops of some description. Leaving you lot to consider a revelation, I think, because I think you've maxed out the insights. Just checking. Yeah, you're at +3 on revelation at the moment. So I will untick these while you try to string a story together. What do we think? Who wants to begin? Does somebody have does somebody want to start pulling on the string?
Let me have a look at them.
I can put forth the theory that not only was the fire in the church started, a clear sign of hell was started by the priest.
Okay, so put a tick in there. Fine. Yep. Who wants to pick up the baton?
Yeah, the priest then went to the bog or was directed to go to the bog and get the manna to feed to the townspeople.
So the manna herb is sacred to one of the old gods, or townsfolk forced to consume manna, which they are addicted to? Which one?
Let's go with the old gods.
Okay. Put a tick in the box.
Done.
What about, I think I'm waiting on Finn or Solinus. Finn?
Let's see.
I don't know why. I play Finn in it. I played a character called Finn in a different game, and it's just went into my head for a second. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna say that as payment for this help, the old god required the priest to put this unnatural symbol into the foundation of the church.
Okay, so we've got that unnatural symbol. Solinus.
The mineral that smells like hell in the stinking cavern has been collected to lay down that unnatural symbol, but it was burned into the ground. He made the symbol with the brimstone, with the yellow mineral, and then that ritual took place, and now the new church is being built upon what was the marking that's been burned into the earth itself below.
Fine, I like that. Where to next? We have let me go back round to Caddock. You kicked us off.
What do we have?
We've still got a pagan tattoo, addiction, and the nobles are useful because they have influence.
Yeah, I think the whole we eat manna thing and addicting them to it is just I mean, it's sacred to the old gods, and Magnus got it, so he gave it to the people so they would do his bidding because he's evil.
Put a tick in the box. Then I've got 2 left. One of them Solinus found, and one of them Caddock found, but you've just come up with that one, Caddock. Go on. I think Black Gel was putting his hand up.
Yeah, the pagan tattoo, while I never saw the one in the church, it transpires it's the same symbol.
Okay. And finally, Solinus, how does this tie into the last one?
I think the nobles of the community are actually aware of what the priest Magnus is doing, and they are feeling guilty, but they are still complicit with this because they want the renown for their town and for the building of the church.
Oh, right. So if this works, then this will be the home of a saint.
Right.
Yeah, okay. And The only bit that I'm not quite certain about, I mean, tick that last one. The only I'm not quite certain is why then was Rin arguing with Mangus? Because it seems like Rin knows what has happened. So just somebody unpack for me why were they arguing?
It
then I've got
it was a distraction.
Oh, I see. It was all a play.
It's all a play.
Okay.
Now
Yeah,
I think specifically it was all a play to veil, like, not, I don't think all of the nobility are in on it, you know. I think maybe perhaps there's Lady Becca is, you know, awash in a sea of conspirators, you know.
Fine. And who knows who her lustful spouse Rhiannon would favour were events to take a different turn. So I think we are
to Rin is PS2, right?
So I think that we asked Caddock to roll the dice last time. I think because this seems to revolve around the old gods, I'm going to go to Finn this time and Jose to roll the dice for Revelation.
Okay. So I'm just rolling
2d6 plus 3 based on those insights.
Okay. Here we go. Well, it's boxcars.
My goodness me. On a 10 plus, the heroes are correct and frame the scene in which they will confront the darkness they have revealed. So let me start then. If that was Caddock, then let me go round to Black Gel. Where will this confrontation take place?
At the burned out church.
Moving along to Solinus, when will this confrontation take place?
This confrontation will take place. What would the time be that you go to church?
I guess, shall we assume that today they've managed to put some roof on this, and so it is possible to have a service inside at dusk today?
Yeah, I like that. Dusk with a red, you know, light skyline coming over the horizon. Yeah,
and that gives Rin a chance to have got where he's going and come back with who he's got. Yeah, so it's at dusk, at sunset. ... Who else is there, Caddock? Is it the entire congregation?
Yeah, sure. I mean, let's have more foes. I mean, more innocent. I mean, yeah. Let's make this more complicated.
Okay, so the entire congregation is in this this half of the church which is complete. The bit on the other side of the tower is yet to have its work done, but everyone is crowded in. And where are you, Finn, relative to, you know, are you at the back? Are you outside? Are you near the front where a makeshift altar has been set up? Are you near that symbol where Solinus tells you it's been burned into the ground? You tell me.
Yeah, because I don't think all the walls are complete. I think we might have a roof, but not everything is complete on this church. So so it's pretty open. I think, and this is for the confrontation itself.
Yes, we're setting the scene before I press go.
Yeah, we should be up near the altar somehow, maybe hiding on the sidelines or the sidewalls of the church. And I think that's where the unnatural symbol is underneath. It's been covered now, but we know it's underneath the altar.
Okay, where the symbol is. Okay. Who makes the first move? I think you need to agree that among yourselves.
Just one thing. God will demand something from me. Remember that?
He will.
Okay. Just didn't want to be forgotten. On the other hand, I mean, I can make the first move and confront the priest in the church because he's defiling the church. That's not right.
Yet God wants you to take his side. How dishonorable is that?
That is not. I will. He will show me how to take his side. I think we will confront him, and then we will see. Right? Maybe he's got a good explanation.
So what do you say when you confront him?
I will step out and I will say, stop this charade. You are not working for the glory of God. You are working for the glory of this pagan idol whose symbol you drew into the ground. You, false priest, burned down the church.
Heretic! He screams in your face. How are you going to take his part? How does God tell you to take his part?
Well, he's a priest, right?
The
He
priest.
says, goes. I will hesitate.
All of them are heretics. If you bear the sword of God, prove it.
I think I will owe God a debt.
That bastard God. Okay, that's happened. Let me go first to Solinus. What do you do, Solinus? Oh, we're on the clock, yeah.
I look to the lady who must be here in the church with us, right? This is the whole village in the hall, I think. And I turn to her and I say, my lady, look at your flock, look at your villages. These are your people. They are yours to care for. And look, and I snatch up the hands of the woodworker. They cut themselves and they bleed, not for God and not for you, not for the land, but for this man's pride. And I point at Caddock, and I say, will you not pull it? Not Caddock, sorry.
Magnus.
One Christian's much like another. And yeah, I say, will you not put an end to this madness? So I would try and influence her to to give us the nod to escalate things, to rally, whatever, to basically like have us rescue the village at this point.
At which point I think the obnoxious storyteller points at the bleeding hands of the woodworker and says, "Stigmata!" And that's the cliffhanger we'll finish on.
They're all in it. The obnoxious storyteller's in on it too.
It's a plot. It's a plot. Let's have a quick stars and wishes because we still have a couple of minutes. I thought I could get it complete, but still heavy. We rarely don't stick the landing, but there you go. So stars and wishes in the order I can see you. Jose.
Stars to, I think it was Paul who developed the idea of the mana. I think that was a great idea, and it created a lot of great storytelling. So I appreciated that. And Sabine, thanks for the interaction with Caddock and Finn around religion. That was cool. And Will, I'm loving how you step into dialogue at every opportunity with characters, and I'm trying to do that as well. I'm inspired. And Alan, I just love you being the priest. It's really awesome. And I'm looking forward to more of you being the priest next time. And thank you, of course.
I come from a family of Methodist.
It's in your blood. Yeah.
It's in my blood.
Enjoyed the theorize move too for us. The revelation move was cool. So thanks.
Paul, any wishes, Jose?
I'm good for right now.
Okay. Paul, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, some great individual play there. Nobody stood on anybody's toes, I didn't think. And I really liked it, how everybody developed the insights. At one stage I was thinking of a nice demon, and then I switched to a bit of Rawhead Rex. None of that came out, but it was still really fun. I like what other people come up with as good ideas. So really nice to see that from all the other players, and really good. I don't think you sort of really have set out scenarios now, do you, Alan? So really good of you for spinning all that together in something that didn't really seem broken up in any way, shape, or form. Ran really smoothly. good pacing, liked it. More of the same.
Is that a wish, or are there more?
No more of the same is the wish.
And you know, next time I won't deny you a convince when you're desperate to fill that last box on an XP. Will, any stars, any wishes?
Stars, I really thought that we did a good job this session, you know, with yourself and with the framing and everything of setting up parallel narratives and scenes, particularly like me and Black Gel were, you know, like looking into the mystery while Caddock and Finn were having a heart-to-heart at one point. And I thought it was a good balance of doing personal scenes and character scenes and, you know, moving the action along, but then it was all still keeping part of the flow, which is, you know, one of those things that you can't really plan for, but just happens, right? And it worked really well today, I thought. Paul, for setting up a great scene that did fulfill multiple purposes. I just wasn't what I had in mind at the time when you were suggesting it. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Because last thing I heard was Jose was going to go get the banner, and I was like, cool. Well, I'll go look at something else then. But it was a really good, you know, as soon as you said, I want to do these mechanics, I was like, yeah, that's the perfect move. So that was great to set up. The egg thing, of course, particular star for that. I hope, yeah. Wishes wise, I think this is a more, well, maybe like I would like a bit more death, injury, NPCs in peril. You know, like I have that. I pretty much have the balm of God as a gift as well. But to be perfectly honest with you, it makes far more sense in the pacing of everything that we've done for Caddock to be using it at those points. But you know, I keep having an eye out for like the villager who is mortally injured or something like that, you know.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, I mean, if you think that you know, a more appropriate gift, you know, by all means.
I mean, I like the idea of him being basically like a thief who now has the power to heal people, and I'm totally not bothered that Caddock has the move. To be honest, I would prefer it to be a Mordrum, you know, miraculous saving a villager or something than Finn got bit by a snake and needs patching up. Maybe if Caddock's intestines are all over a battlefield, that would be another good moment, right? But anyway, one thing, and I do have like system thoughts, but I can put some of those in the chat. Just on the basis of this one, in terms of a wish, it's tied in with the injury and the death and the sort of the peril that the world is facing. It is I like the arriving in the settlement and building it up and everything, but I do think that it's inherently becomes a slow burner in that sense. You know, when you arrive in a village, you go through a feast, you have a thing, there is a formality to it all, and it is not. You know, you arrive and the village has its gates rack and ruined as the raiders are tearing it apart. And we're teasing out what the peril is from the villagers and the things in peril, as opposed to like, help me heroes, you know, you're my only hope kind of thing. And I think there should be room for both of them in the game, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the idea of the quest, depending on how your encounter on the road goes, you can end up fulfilling a short quest on behalf of those that you've met, and that's where that kind of short piece of scene setting is meant to go, rather than in the settlement.
You know, there's a serial killer at work in the village. It always seems to be lending itself to a sort of like Scooby-Doo-ish type mystery, you know, where there is more under the surface.
I mean, I think that's in your hands, if I'm honest, because you get to set the inciting incident.
Yeah, but the inciting incidents are all in the hall.
Okay.
And we are always, what's the sign of the questions that we ask at the start are always about the previous, the thing, the what's made, you know, there's no.
What do you roll first? Do you create the people before you roll the?
You create the people after you roll the village, I think, this is where we've been doing it.
You create the people, then you start talking about you know, what's happening in the hall. Now, it could be what happens in the village.
Because
you know,
when you arrive,
and at the bottom it does say, or something else even more flavorful.
Yeah, but that's in the hall.
Yeah, but yeah,
Well,
I think what
no,
Will's saying
you're
is
in the hall, but there's nothing to say that something doesn't happen outside.
but we've already created those people. I think Will's sort of saying we can't start in sort of Deus Ex Machina. You know, we get there and there's already a battle going because we've already created people. The people will always be created.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Will's saying, therefore, it doesn't lend an opportunity when there's nobody in the village. You know, there's always going to be people there.
Yes.
It is, I think, mostly about that. What hints at the settlement's prosperity? What hints at the settlement's current? Well, the hints, you know, what hints at the settlements? It's the structure of it seems to me to lend. But I think we're taking up too much time here now. You know.
Well, but I do want to. I think, you know, if you want to say what worries you about this place, those people assaulting its gates, then, you know, that can be a thing. You know, genuinely, I want to phrase those questions as broadly as I can.
Cool. I would say then that perhaps it is the fact that the structure of it, as read out, flows onto incident disturbs your meal, presupposing that you will have a meal. Or, you know, there's a
okay. Yeah. No, anyway, fair enough. I think I can do some rephrasing there.
And I also just want to quickly add, I actually quite like that we finished up before. I don't feel that we always have to get everything. I know that you're a machine at pace, Ellen, but I enjoy the fact that we've ended on the cliffhanger of just before the final fight. It's pretty cool.
Sabine, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, lots of stars. I like the session. It was a good flow of the action. There was a bit shenanigans with Black Gel. There was a bit of socializing with Solinus. I like the heart-to-heart that I had with Finn, and he got to wolf out. That was also nice. I didn't get to hit someone. I'm disappointed by myself, mainly. So next time I will hit. I'll hit the priest. I have one wish that is basically also a question, because I didn't get to declare the enemy of God this time. Do I get to declare it in the next session, because it's still the same mystery? Because
do you want to declare it now?
I could
as being being somebody.
I'm just being the priest.
And then we'll assume that's the case.
Yeah, I would maybe rephrase the whole thing as once at the start of a mystery, not at the start of every session, because I'm running out of things I've done, dishonorable things that I've done.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah.
So,
yeah, fine. I'll think about that. Thank you all for engaging with that. I thought that flowed together quite nicely. We'll see where our climax takes us next time and what exactly is Rin going to do. But we've got time for a quick canter through end of session XP. Left to right. This time you did invoke your calling, Black Gel, so there's one. You did complicate things by telling an uncomfortable truth. And as always, you addressed many challenges irrationally. So that's 3 XP for you. Moving along, Solinus. You didn't invoke your calling this time. You did steal in a good cause. And you did address a challenge with guile, because which example have you got in mind?
I think my very first one of leading the lady off to have a quiet word with her was the guile. And I'll just point out that I've yet to mark soul still. I just need to roll.
Wow. You better start praying for something. Okay. So that's 2 XP for you, which I think probably takes you up with a bit of overflow. Then we come to Caddo.
I helped myself, and I think I complicated things by confronting a threat in the end when I confronted the priest.
Yeah, and found yourself in conflict with God's desires.
Yeah. Is that also addressing a challenge with courage, or?
I don't know about that one, because I think
fair.
that
Neither do I.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair. So 2, I think.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Let's have a look at Finn, our skin changer. You didn't invoke your calling this time.
No.
Your burden complicated things.
Yeah, I had a question about that. There's two ways of
Mhm.
thinking about that. One is mechanically, I did a look around and the burden caused me to get a -2 on that look around. I don't know if that's what you're thinking about that. Or I was also thinking about the longing that's drawing me into this conflict and longing with Caddock. That's a more narrative thing. So I don't know if
Either and both.
Okay, well then I'll take one for those. And I don't think I
Fine.
addressed a challenge with aggression or violence this time.
Do you know? I don't think you did.
So go
Yeah, it was a
figure.
minor. It was a minor wolfing at the best.
Yes. Yeah.
So just the one today.
And the minor
and
wolfing doesn't cause the me to have to narrate a terrible thing. Is that true?
no, that it's only when you go bestial.
Where for me. Okay.
You can go back and forth to an ordinary wolf at
No
will.
problem. That's what I thought. Okay, great.
If you start doing it every 10 minutes, I might get a bit iffy, but yeah. And we are a minute short. We will begin again on that climactic confrontation, which I'm glad I'm recorded, so I can just check in exactly where we left it, and I will see you next time.
Bye, everybody. Thank
Thanks
you.
for